Thank you so much for everything. There we go. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the globe. We're excited to guide you today. Our main topic is what's happening? Why are some IMGs not getting interviews? What are kind of some of those pieces? We want to go over that today. My name is Shayla. I'm the VP of Student Success here at USMLE Sarthi, and I'm so excited to guide you and kind of walk you through all these important things that we need to keep track of. So we are going to go over 4 important things to remember at this point, and then 8 kind of main topics on what PDs look for and what's happening in the whole application process. Some great things to keep in mind. First, I wanted to give just a shout out to our Sarthi students. We've had over 500 interviews. Our students are already booking and solidifying, so that's really exciting. Anyone who is still in the process, good luck. Don't forget practice. That's the key to getting ready for interviews, is practice, and practice some more. That's the main thing you'll have to do, just because it just takes time to get more comfortable practicing interviews. So just keep on going. And then anyone who is still waiting for interviews, that's what we're here for. We want to help you, and we can help with practicing with interviews. We've got mock interviews, all of those types of things too. So just stay in touch with us. We'd be happy to guide you. So let's talk about those who are not getting interviews, who haven't gotten any interviews yet. What can we do? I want to introduce Pawan Kira, our chief mentor.
Yeah, thank you, Shayla. All right, thank you. Sorry for that. Let me get my camera on. Okay, hopefully you can hear me and you can see me. So good to see you all. I do want, I've just started a question if you can answer. So I want to see how many of you have applied and, kind of where the interview status is. So that'll help us just assess the webinar on how to help. So I'm just looking at how many people have no interviews, or between 1 and 3, more than 3. So let's give it a minute so that we can see. Okay. So looks like a lot of you have interviews, which is a good thing. Let me just share the results so that you can also all see. So about 85% of the audience does have interview, which is a good thing, right? But there are always folks who haven't received the interview, and this kind of becomes a panicky situation. So what can we do at this point? So Shayla, if you can move the PowerPoint to the next one.
Yeah.
Okay. So always remember that each one of you is unique. The profiles are different, and therefore there is no one size fits all. Many times we hear, my friend who had lower scores got the interviews, or someone, who was very similar to me in this profile got the interviews. I didn't get it, vice versa. There are many things that go into an interview invite. Scores are one of them, year of graduation, research, and things that we'll talk about. So there is no real consistency in whether person X got it, the person Y should also get it. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the season has well and truly started. It's about a month, as you all know. We started, I think, 27th September, but it does not mean that the season is over. Yes, the interviews may be late in coming, so they always go in a sequence. There is a well-defined sequence. So higher scores, recent year of graduations, etc., those students get the interview first, and then they move down the pecking order. You should see for the next 2-3 weeks, a lot of interviews still come in, and then there'll be a pause for Thanksgiving, probably starting again in December. So there is a lot of time still to get the interview. The third thing which all of us should remember is there is no perfect applicant. Maybe there are a few, right? So what is a perfect applicant? A 270 on both steps, 3 to 4 months of USCE, recent graduation, all of that thing. But these things are very hard to get, include research also. So there are very few perfect applicants. So you have to think of your profile as a portfolio of things. If you're weak in one aspect, let's say lower scores, you have to make up in other areas like research, USC, etc. So you have to think of it as a combination of all of that that can lead you to the match. The fourth thing we all have to remember is there are things you cannot control. A, because they're not in your hand, or B, it's already, you cannot reverse it. For example, scores. Scores are your scores. They will stay with you. You cannot retake the exam unless, of course, you failed. So you cannot do much with the scores. However, there are other things you can improve on what you have not done. So it could be maybe more USCE, research, step 3, things like that, right? So always understand, if you cannot control anything, move on and think about other things that you can control. Shala, let's move to the next one. Okay, so there are things that determine why some IMGs are not getting interviews. And let's talk a bit about all of these, and then we'll see how you can improve or change some of these and probably get the interviews. So like I said, the first thing is the USMLE scores. If you have already taken your exams, you cannot do much about it. However, you can see if you have not taken step 3, then probably step 3 helps, right? So exams are, scores are a good criteria, and whether you like it or not, they are one of the main filters. So if you have low scores, you really have to focus on other things. And then is the ERAS application, the entire application. Now, of course, this year it changed and you're limited to 10 experiences. But this also talks about a well-rounded application. So USCE, volunteering, research, well-rounded applicants are more likely to get interview than someone who has been limited in terms of dimensions or scope, so only focusing on, say, the USC and not something else. So, applicants who have a well-rounded application have a good chance to get more interview. A profile is related to that in itself, the entire ERAS application. Then there may be things that you've not been able to put in your ERAS application just because of the limitations. So that, of course, helps. Personal statement. So your personal statement will definitely be read, right? And it will be discussed. So personal statement is a very critical part of your portfolio. And those of you who have spent time know that it's a very critical aspect. So personal statement, grammatical errors and typos, those kind of things really put off the programs. Letter of recommendations, I should say, waived US letters of recommendations. So for those of you who do not have waived letters or do not have the US letters, they typically are at a disadvantage. And if you don't have interviews, go back to some of these things to see what may be holding it back. But maybe it is the letters of recommendations, which are either not waived, non-US, or frankly, very generic letters of recommendations, which do not convey your fit to the specialty and your clinical acumen, or maybe even the research acumen. So letters of recommendations are critical in determining your entire success in this journey. Then, of course, is USCE. For those applicants who do not have USCE, it's going to be an uphill battle. It's very hard to get interviews without US clinical experience. Now, ideally, you would want on-site USCE, but there are cases where either you didn't get visa or for whatever reason you could not travel, then sometimes the tele rotations can also work. In fact, we do have students even last year and this year who got interview invites just on the basis of tele rotations. However, these cases are very rare. So now that COVID is behind us, on-site USCE really matters. And connected to the earlier one, the number 5, letters of recommendation, clinic-based LORs do not work. The letterhead of the USCE or the LOR is equally important. So USCE and the letters you got to combine together, and then see how how your application looks. What is the strength of your application? Then there are these strategies where, you reach out to the programs, sending letter of interest. We have spoken a lot about program outreach, that you should watch our other videos. Should I be sending letters? Signaling comes into play. Of course, you already signaled as part of your application, sending letters, maybe calling programs, maybe doing rotations during the season, focusing on the programs where you think you have a good chance. All of that really helps, right? And then is your entire understanding of the match process. When does the interview season start? When does it end? When to send the letter of interest? When to call the programs? And then, of course, the rank order list. When to do step 3 so that when you submit the score of the step 3 to the program, you still have a shot at the interview. So the understanding of the entire match process is very important. Yeah, Shara, let's move on.
Yeah, I was going to say we have a slide on each of those things. So I think you pretty much summarized a lot of those. So we'll just kind of go.
I already,
That's okay. If there's anything you missed, maybe kind of go into each of those, but we can kind of go through this.
Of course, I think I didn't speak about multiple attempts. So if you obviously have attempts, it's going to be a challenge to get interviews. But again, then you have to assess the specialty and other things. So that's fine. I think I already spoke about a lot of these. Move on. Let me see if I missed anything. Yep. So, like I said, the ERAS application has changed this year, but some of the things remain same. Grammatical errors, they are a big no-no. Incomplete application. So, like I said, a well-rounded application really helps. So, by incomplete here, we mean if you have not filled up the sections. So, that could put you at a disadvantage. In this case, let's say you have no research, right? Or no volunteering, it could put you at a disadvantage. Let's move on. Yeah, so profile, like I said, makes a lot of difference. What I did not touch upon was gaps. So if you have long gaps in your USMLE journey, clinically you've not been active, it can really hurt your chances of getting the interview. Gaps are a big red flag. Prior ECFMG violations do kick in here. Let's say you had a SOAP violation or something in the previous year. That could be preventing you to get interviews as well. Personal statement, yes. One of the things I did miss is plagiarism. So in the age of ChatGPT, this was always a big deal, but now it's become a bigger issue because a lot of students are using these tools, the AI tools, but they are not putting their own stories in. So the ChatGPT is spitting out a lot of very similar personal statement. In fact, we have more than 500 students and we review their personal statements, and a lot of times we see the The structure is similar, the flow is similar, the storyline is similar. So that really can hurt you in the season as programs are reading through it and they realize that you've used ChatGPT. It's very easy to find out. Uh, Other thing which I missed in the personal statement is if you're applying for multiple specialties and you have just one personal statement for all specialties, that's going to hurt you. Letters of recommendations. Yes, I spoke about it. Generic letters don't help. Home country doesn't help. And if you're using an IM letter for, say, psychiatry or vice versa, so wrong specialty letters of recommendations can really hurt you also. So USCE, yes, not enough USCE, very hard to get interviews. Specialty relevant USCE really, really helps, right? So those kind of things that we already spoke about. Application strategies. So if you've applied late, it really hampers your chances. Something that you should realize. If you've not done enough research on what type of programs you are eligible for in terms of scores, other criterias, and you're just applying to a wrong set, whether it is a wrong geography, a wrong type of programs, that'll hurt you. And applying to only a few programs. Now, some of you may have issues or constraints, but remember, a typical visa seeking IMG, for example, applies to between 150 to 200 programs, say in internal medicine. So if you're only applying to 50, this is going to lessen your chances for interviews. Yep. So we already discussed the match process. So the lack of understanding of the process, lack of outreach, follow-up does hurt you. What else? Okay. So there are various factors that program director consider when they are choosing the applicant. I think we have gone through a lot of these factors in the previous webinar. So just for you to go and look will be a good idea. Like I said, there is still time. Interviews have been going on for about a month, but I think you'll still get interviews in November and probably into December. So you can still make up a lot of things. So how do you get more interviews? Like we have discussed, networking and outreach at this time really helps, whether it is the virtual open houses, whether it's connecting to the programs by LinkedIn, email, maybe calling the program. So we have an entire set of classes that can help you. The other thing, and maybe Shaila, do we have more on this, or is there another slide here?
These are the main tips that we have at this point.
Yeah. So the most important thing here, which I think a lot of you miss, is I just got a call. One of my students, he just called and said he got an interview invite. The interview is in 3 days. So once you do all of these things, you can get interviews, but then you may not have sufficient time to prepare. And if the interview is in 2 days or 3 days, you really will struggle if you're not prepared. So interview preparation or getting ready for the interviews, do not wait till the last minute, because then the golden chance that you get in securing the interviews may just go wasted if you have not been prepared. So preparation is an important aspect, and you have to do it parallelly. You cannot wait and say, okay, today I got the interview and from tomorrow I will start. And that's where what we do is we work with our students. We have separate groups for interview preparation. So they prepare on a daily basis, because the interviews can come at any time. That's one. The other thing which we've realized that there are a lot of tools now that you can use, and we have a tool that AI generated questions. So for example, based on your year of graduation, based on your scores, based on your profile. The questions have to be customized. The questions have to be tailored, because that is how the programs look at your profile. It's not one size fits all, even when it comes to the questions in the interview. So we have a tool that we use with our students to customize questions for them based on the profile. So that's an interesting AI platform that we use. And of course, our interview preparation goes, it's a continuous process. The point is, you have to do these things simultaneously, chasing programs for the interview and preparing for the interview, because by the time you get the interview, they may not have enough dates for you to wait a month. And that was something I wanted to just point out as you guys are looking to secure more interviews. Yeah, so that was, I think, Shaila, everything that I want to
I want to
highlight.
just add, the question that I get is, it doesn't matter what I'm doing now, and we do recommend, continuing to get research, continue to do clinical experience, get your step 3, so that when you do get interviews, you can say, look what I've been doing. I'm not just sitting around. So we do recommend doing that too.
I think that's also an important part. The clinical experience, the research. So the season has not ended. A lot of people think whatever I do till 27th September is the only thing that matters. No, as Shaila said, whatever you do even now will help you during the interview, and also can help you in your letter of interest, or whichever way you are reaching out to the programs, telling them you are clinically active or doing research or things like that. It shows your commitment to the USMLE process.
Right. So yeah, that kind of leads us into our plan. So Puan talked about our AI-driven mock interview. So we're really excited to offer that with our Silver on Demand plan here. So it's still the same great plan. You get the classes, recorded access. You can practice on your own time. You still get access to our program list, our community, practice sessions, all of that. But then you also get that AI-driven tool. So you get to record yourself doing an interview, you get feedback. And like Puan mentioned, it is customized based on your profile. So you can get questions specific to, say, family medicine, psychiatry, your year of graduation, things like that. So that's a pretty helpful tool. And then our Silver Interactive plan, excuse me, comes with a free mock interview as well with Puan. So same thing, you get to join the classes live, practice answering questions, get feedback. You can access the recordings afterwards as well. You still get access to our program list, our community, the practice sessions with other students. But then you also get a mock interview, which would be set up like this over video. You get to practice. And obviously that will be tailored on your profile as well. And Puan will give feedback as you go. So we're really excited to add that as part of the interview prep. So you can get some feedback, practice answering, get some of those kinks out as you go. So those are our 2 silver plans that we have offered right now. And you can always add on more mock interviews as well. We've got a panelist of physicians, residents, and attendings that do the mock interviews. Those are one-on-one, and they give feedback to you. So you can do those as an add-on as well. Okay, any other thoughts on our
so I think sometimes a lot of students are asking, I think Sarthi and I, what is this interview insight? So interview insights over the past 7 to 10 years, since our students have interviewed at almost every program, so we have a very strong handle on the type of questions each specific program is asking. So whether, say, it's a community program, a particular community program, a university program, in what specialty, what type of questions are asking, how does the interview day look like at that program, what happens during the morning, who interviews you, what type of questions they ask. So we have a very robust database that our students use as they are practicing for that specific interview. And I think Sarthi here is sharing. So you can see at one of the programs, so you'll see, okay, how was the interview held? It was virtual. How many interviews held in the day? What was the average duration? Who interviewed? what specific questions were asked. So this is important, exactly what are they trying to get to, what does the program look like, what questions you asked, and what was the feedback of the faculty. So as you can see, 10, 15 students who may have interviewed, you will see their specific feedback on each program wherever they have interviewed. So that's an interesting tool, a very helpful platform that all our students have access to as they are preparing for the interview for a specific program. So that's something I wanted to share. So thank you, Swati, for doing that. Maybe I should take up a few questions, unless Swati, what do you think? Should I go and I can read the question and I can take.
Yeah, please. So
Okay.
there is one question. If you received an
I
interview,
can.
so please go.
You want me to do it or?
Yeah, please. You can do that.
Okay. Step one passed and CK is in 270s. Step three is 230s, 4 months USC publications. No interviews yet. So that's very interesting. Obviously, there are other things that are going on, which I cannot see. A could be just late application, B something in the profile or the ERA CV, something in the USC, but your otherwise from a scores perspective, your profile is good. You should definitely reach out to the programs, prepare for the interviews, because you will get the interviews unless something else is going on. Maybe your graduation was delayed, and that's a filter also. But otherwise, it's a good profile. Is it reasonable to apply for next math season without ECFMG certification? It is, you can apply without ECFMG certification. I think application, it does not prevent you to apply without certification. If your CK score is a high score, you should be fine, and you have other aspects. So you definitely want to apply as long as the other parts of the profile are good. And looks like you have a recent biology, you should be fine. I'm in Seattle, an old IMG. How to approach East Coast to get inside the hospital, which has IM programs. So Pacific Northwest, like Seattle, Portland, and some of those areas are not IMG friendly. There are a couple of programs in Seattle that are good, but yes, you may have to think about moving to the East Coast, especially for rotations. I think that definitely has to be done. Otherwise, it becomes harder to match on the East Coast. Let's see what else. How long should the letter of interest be? So if you, it is quite late now, but if you are starting, not more than a page. YOG 2015, gaps, GC holder, step 3, apply to 400 programs, still no interview. It depends on other aspects. I don't know your score. And it depends on the specialty you apply to and the relevant experience, So, you can set up time with us, with Shayla or I, and we'll do that. What else? If you received an interview from an Ivy League hospital, how to do well so that you get ranked high, and should I rank them high even if they have not ranked me? So we do talk about rank order list in another webinar, but any program, whether it is the Ivy League or a community program, if they have invited you, they like your profile, right? So any interview, if you take it as a conversation, focus on your strengths, will help. Now, of course, we can go into specifics, and that's where the interview preparation and training comes in. And yeah, if you want to go there, you should rank them higher regardless of where they rank you. So we'll talk more about ROL in subsequent videos. But for now, yes, if you really want to go there, you got to rank them higher. Well, early versus late interviews. I'm seeing a question, should I interview early, November, December, Jan? Does it make a difference? And I want to join Sarthi for prep. So I don't think early versus late makes a difference unless it's a pre-match program. So, you can take the interviews in December or January, but have a good preparation. If it's a pre-match program, then interviewing now or as soon as you can do is important. How many interview invites do you think one should have at least till now? It depends on your profile. There is no one size fits all. Many students are sitting on 15 plus invites. Many are sitting on maybe one or two. Many have no invites. So it's hard to say. What else? Where can I see prices of the interview preparation course? So Swati, you can probably share the link of the our courses, and they can see the link or the prices, etc. So Swati can help you with the enrollment or whatever pricing information do you need. What do you think are some of the aspects, things that tell you that an interview was successful? I think it is just as a conversation, as long as it was not awkward, as long as you had a good professional conversation at a high level, that means the interview would have gone well. Okay. Hard to say without specific questions, but that's it. It's a conversation, and if it was free flowing, you'll be fine. What else? Recent graduate 2023, step 1 pass, CK 218, research 8 publications, visa requiring. Do I still have a chance in neuro? Yeah, so your CK is too low at a 218. You really need very, very strong USCE. The season you can try, reach out to the programs, but yes, the CK score is lower, although the good news is neuro is very forgiving on score. So if you have 8 relevant publications, you have a good shot. What is the lowest acceptable score for step 2? If you're asking for a pass score, that is different, but acceptable, I don't know. It depends on the specialty. Even at 220, you can match it depending on your profile. Best time to send the letter of interest is now. All right, I think that was all that we got. There are other questions. Maybe Swati, you can handle. Shaila, anything else you want me to cover?
I think that was great. I think that went well, and we covered a lot of helpful points. So thank you.
All right, thank you everyone. And Swati is around.
Yeah, I'm here.
Questions, but good luck, and we'll be back soon with other webinars. Thank you, Shaila. Thanks all.
Thank you. So we have an announcement to make, like we are starting a campaign on interview day. So you can get the tips on all our social media channels from today. So you can read the blogs, you can know about the dressing, everything is there. Okay, link for LOI. Okay, I'll share it. So if you guys have any question, you can share it here. I'll reply.